So now we skip through all the awkward getting to know you phase.
See, that was just a special moment between the two of us.
Exactly. And now I'm ready to invite you to my wedding party for when I get married.
Oh, I look forward to it. Wait until you see what I'm wearing.
In the cool of the evening when everything is getting kind of groovy. In the cool of the evening when everything is getting kind of groovy. I call you up and ask you if you like to go with me and see a movie.
It sounds like I'm just eating a sandwich. Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two, the podcast, as always, hosted by me, yours truly, Chris. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 352 of the podcast. Trying out a different format right now for this episode because I think this is a special episode, and I want to change it up a bit. I talk about it early on in this episode where I kind of want to do things a little bit differently, and it hit me. I can, because why not? It's my show, and I can do whatever I want, and there's not a thing any of you can say to me. But of course, if you want to follow me online, Instagram and Twitter, it's both at Casting for Two, and however you're listening to this episode on whatever service you listen to, feel free to leave me a review. Again, it's available on all services. I'm not going to list them. You should know them. And if you don't know them, then I should have listed them. Maybe next episode. But I want to chat about my guest today. He is a wonderful musician, singer, songwriter, all that good stuff, based out of Portland, Oregon. My man, Derek Phillips, is here, and he's in a band called Daystar. And their new album is out right now. It's called The Complete Recordings, and I recommend picking that album up. But you know what? We had a wonderful chat, and I'm just ready to get into this episode, all right? So, Derek, take it away. Or actually, it's me talking with Derek, but you get it. I got to start off by saying I'm so bummed that... our last conversation. So, yeah, I told you I was having computer issues, right?
Yeah, I think that did come up last time.
I don't know who I was telling, but, you know, I told everyone, any potential interview at the time.
Yeah.
And I was so bummed because I'm at a point with the podcast where I don't want to ask the same questions. I want to mix it up.
Yeah.
And we had an awesome chat. And I felt good about it, and then cut to, you know, Friday when I'm editing. I'm like, oh no, where's his audio? And the only thing that came across is me, and I was just, damn it, man.
Well, hopefully I can be just as charming today.
You know what? I think you will.
Hey, I appreciate your confidence. That's good.
Of course, you got to have confidence. Look. And I mean, and again, you know, that first chat was so awesome that nobody will ever hear.
Right.
So now we skip through all the awkward getting to know you phase.
See, that was just a special moment between the two of us.
Exactly. And now I'm ready to invite you to my wedding party for when I get married.
Oh, I look forward to it. Wait until you see what I'm wearing.
Thank you. You know, yeah, you know. A lot of people like to control what the wedding party wears, not this guy. You can wear whatever you want.
Thank you. You're not gonna regret it at all.
Oh, thank you. I had a conversation with one of my buddies, and I go, you know, that's how I gauge a true friend. It's like, would he be in my wedding party?
Right.
And
that's a level of trust, man.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying you're the best man. I'm just saying you're in the party. That's it. All right.
I mean, that's fair. It's tough, but it's fair.
Exactly. But so how's the record release? How'd that go out?
It's good. We're getting really good reviews coming in. Mm-hmm. You know, everyone seems to be picking up on you know, the more obvious influences, which is which is cool. Some people don't, I think some bands get real precious about that, right? Like everyone
Right.
wants to pretend that they're completely original. Nobody's ever thought up what they've thought up before. We're not that way at all. We're more than happy to to put our influences right out there. Hopefully adding some new layers to the onion, but truth be told, we wanted to create a band that sounded like or similar to other bands that we love, and it sounds like people are picking up on that.
Do you ever get caught up on negative reviews?
I used to, yeah.
Okay.
Because, and I think it's, if people are being honest, it's hard not to, right? Like you put a lot of thought and effort and heart and soul into these things, and then to hear somebody, just crap all over it, that can hurt your feelings.
Right.
But I put less into that now. I guess just because I just don't care as much as I used to about those sorts of things. Yeah, I mean, I set out to write and record songs that I would want to hear, and as long as I hit that goal, I'm pretty happy. If other people love it too, that's just that's the cream on top. So
right,
yeah, that's great. But I don't particularly get as hurt if people aren't into it.
I think that is an important place to be in as an artist, where obviously you care about the product that you're putting out.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't give a crap what other people think, or if they think it's good or bad. Or, well, not good, obviously. But, if they have negative thoughts towards it, it's like, I don't really care. It's, because, I've done film shorts and film work and stuff like that. And I've just always done stuff that I wanted to do.
Right.
I'm not motivated by, what's going on around me or politically, anything like that. And if somebody doesn't like it, it's like, okay, you can, thanks for watching, whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, there are lots of other things to go get into, I guess.
Right.
If this isn't your thing, that's all right. That's cool. Yeah. Probably don't like your thing either.
I remember a long time ago. This was the maddest I've ever been. It was I had this idea of publishing the podcast on a radio show, cutting it down and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And I was chatting with somebody. It's a radio station out in Portland, and I'm not going to say who.
Okay. KEXP.
Is it? I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. I just know. Whatever. And for months, it was a new radio station, and the main programming woman just kept saying, "Oh yeah, we're busy. Come at me later." All right, no problem. Get in contact. Oh yeah, okay. 2 months. Give me 2 months. All right, cool. 3 months. 3 months. Okay, cool. And it ended up being about half a year. 6 months. I waited to just chat with her, and finally she's like, "Yeah, send me your stuff, and we'll see where we go from there." Cool. I send her my stuff, and she goes, "Honestly, I didn't even listen past the intro, but and I was just." I'm a pretty neutral, calm guy.
Yeah.
At that point, my blood was boiling because I had spent half a year, trying to get this woman to contact me, and she couldn't give me the time of day.
Yeah.
And I said, obviously, had you gone into the interview, you would have seen what I am capable of doing, but I'm really sad that you weren't able to do that. And as I was typing this, they literally were interviewing an artist that I interviewed, and I was just like, he's on your program right now.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't listen to this? And she sent me back, it would have been nice to work with you.
Yeah, it would have been. You don't even know how nice it would have been.
Oh, my God. And this was, I want to say, maybe my second year.
Yeah.
So I didn't know I'd still be going on to this day, but it was just like it blew my mind that I waited this long to not get the time of day.
Well, what's particularly frustrating about that is that she just kept saying, yeah, hold on, I'll get back to you, next month, Instead of, if she wasn't interested, like even from the get-go, then just say so. We can all move on with our lives. But you invested time.
Exactly. Even to this day, if somebody says, look, we like what you're doing, but we're just not interested, I'm like, cool, I'll move on with my life. It's not going to hurt my feelings. What makes me mad is just getting the workaround. And it's just like, why are you wasting time?
Everybody's time. Wasting everybody's time.
I could have used that time for sleep.
Yeah. Sleeping, watching at night.
Yeah, or more sleep.
Arguing on Twitter.
Crying.
These are all very, these are good activities.
So much arguing on Twitter. Have you ever had a situation like that where, especially like, I don't know if you were trying to play at a venue or something like that, getting the workaround?
Yeah. So years ago, my band in Chicago, we opened for Jeff Tweedy in Chicago at the Vic Theater, and we'd opened for Sunvolt, and these bands that were really well known. And so as part of the booking, I would mention that, I'd say, hey, just came off a couple of great shows, blah blah blah, and this guy for a bar in the Midwest, just went off on me. If you're going to name drop, and I was like, well, of course I'm going to name drop because I'm trying to book better shows.
Right.
I don't know why you're so offended by this, but if that doesn't impress you, that's cool. I'll book somewhere else. But we ended up having this huge back and forth over email because neither one of us would let it go. I was really pissed that he was, kind of picking a fight over me, over me trying to just get my band better slots. And when you're at that level, like, you take whatever edge you can get to get workers' attention, right? And so, we had a real back and forth, and we never got to play that venue again. But that was fine with me because, like, I was a dick. So,
is there as a podcaster, I totally get that. But is there ever a point when you're just I forgot the question. I don't even think I had a question, going to be honest with you.
All right, that's okay.
That's cool. No, I was going to say, what part of Chicago?
I lived in the city. I lived in the city of Chicago. I lived up in Lincoln Square for about 9 years. So that's 4600 North. It's like northwest Chicago.
Okay. It's so funny because I lived in the suburbs of Chicago for a year. Yeah. But, I would say, I lived in Glendale Heights. No, you live in Chicago. And no, because Chicago's over there. Yeah. And they're like, no, you live in Chicago.
Well, you lived in Chicagoland, the Chicagoland area. When I was a kid and we first got cable, I remember watching WGN, and all the commercials would refer to Chicagoland. And I was born north of Chicago, but I grew up in Michigan. Yeah. And so I'd have these kind of fantasies of Chicagoland being like an amusement park, and and I wanted to go live in Chicagoland so bad. But then I moved to Chicago, and it wasn't an amusement park at all. I mean, sure, there's a train, but there are also, bums on that train. So. Yeah. Chicagoland. You lived in Greater Chicagoland. Was it like an amusement park for you?
What was it? What?
Was it like an amusement park for you?
Not really.
No.
It was an experience that I go back and forth whether I was like, I shouldn't have moved to Chicago. And then I'm just like, you know what? I'm glad I moved to Chicago. It's really 50-50 for me. I do have to say, being a bigger guy, I really appreciated the winter. Yeah.
You're okay with the cold?
Oh, I love the cold. I bring it on just because I run hot anyway. Yeah. So and finally, living in Texas, I never get to wear jeans or my nice wool jacket, anything like that. So when I was there, I had my winter gear, and now my threshold for cold is totally different.
Yeah.
It's like if I'm not breathing in ice, then it's not cold.
Yeah, then you're perfectly comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, yeah, I go back and forth whether it was fun or not.
I'm sure there were fun parts, but not the Chicagoland amusement park, Scooby-Doo and Kiss, fantasy that I'd conjured up in my 8-year-old mind.
Right. If it was like that for me, like, oh my God, absolutely. There was a lot of, for me, just kind of like struggling to get day to day.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm not eating for 3 days. All right. And I'm walking like 16 miles a day. Like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah. Through the sleet, I'm sure.
Oh no. Once it started snowing, like, it's amazing how quickly the city goes to like, okay, winter mode, let's do this. And the roads are all paved or de-iced and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then the sidewalks go away because there's just so much ice. And it's like, well, I can't walk anywhere anymore because I can't, there's no sidewalk unless I want to walk in the street and get hit, which insurance money.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you experienced this out where you were, but in the city, there's the whole concept of dibs, where after a snowstorm, if you dig out your parking spot, you just put junk in it, like a broken crib or a ladder, to save your spot. And when I lived in the city, like, it drove me crazy because it's just like there's just garbage all over the place. There's literally junk in the streets saving parking spots. But it's a Chicago thing, and I was in the minority. I hated it, but everybody else loves it.
So you didn't drive around with a broken crib in the back?
Well, I mean, I did. I just didn't enjoy it.
I see. Okay, because you have what's this thing they call a conscience or something like that?
Yeah, right.
Right.
The aesthetics of the city were ruined, 5 months out of the year with just broken cribs and ladders strewn about the place, saving parking spots.
When I visited my buddy in Philadelphia, we because we both come from Oregon.
Yeah.
And we were talking, he picked me up from the airport, we're driving back to his place, and he's like, dude, I just want to start some program where we go and pick up garbage. And I'm just looking at him like, what are you talking about? He goes, just look out the window, and the entire freeway is covered in garbage. And I'm just, holy crap, is this a normal thing? And he goes, yeah, and I get tired of looking at it.
Yeah. Well, especially coming from Oregon, where it's so beautiful. The scenery is so beautiful. And I mean, I think people are more conscious of that. And so the highways are cleaner in Oregon. At least that's always been my experience. I'm sure there are crappy parts, but by and large, it's I mean, it's tidy. We like to keep it tidy.
Exactly. Yeah. And, I moving over here to Texas, it was just like, are you going to recycle that? And I get weird looks like I'm an asshole. I'm like, it's an aluminum can. You can recycle it if you wanted to.
Right. Where do you think that is going once it leaves your house?
But yeah, and it's just, God, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, we should probably talk more about the music.
Okay. Yeah. Happy to.
No. Do you have any shows coming up?
No, not currently, because we're in the process of booking the next kind of big block of shows. We just had our release party in Portland, which was really fun. We had two of our favorite bands in Portland play on the bill with us, the Res Electrics and Maurice and the Stiff Sisters. It's like the whole night was just jam-packed with people dancing, and it was great. It was really fun. Then we had a light show. Well, it's not even a light show. It's so much more than that. We had this guy, John Timms. He does like live projection shows is how I would describe it. And so he's projecting these images all over the place, not just like on the band or behind the band, but around the whole room, and then incorporating a live feed of the show itself. And so it was awesome. It was really fun. So yeah, we're booking our next kind of block of shows right now, including the early stages of putting together a Midwest swing in the spring. So
Gotcha. Okay. And are you still the one who's having to do all the booking, or do you now have people to do that for you?
No, we like to control that ourselves. I've worked with booking agents before, and it's great. And when you get with a good one who understands, what you're trying to do, it's awesome. But we, Joel's really good at that and has great contacts. And so we are doing our own booking for now. We're pretty choosy about kind of the places we want to play right now. We're in a nice spot where we get to be kind of choosy about that. And so right now we're doing our own booking, and that's working really well for us, actually.
Oh, nice. It's when you first started getting into the music industry and things like that, was that daunting on you, being like, oh yeah, there's the creative side and that's the side I want to work and play, oh wait, I got to do business stuff?
Yeah, because it was also like you not only have to figure out who does the booking in these different venues, but how they do their booking and what they're looking for. And so, like back in Chicago, for instance, like when I was first booking shows in Chicago, I'd take anything that would come our way, and that is not always the best way to do things. Like we'd have some bookers who simply would fill time, right? And whoever was first to call or first to accept a slot could have it. And then it didn't take us too long to figure out, like, there are other bookers who curate a night and they want to have like a vibe for the night. So they're thinking about, who the opener is and how that's going to flow into the second band, and then the second band into the third band. And so that was where things started to click for me in doing the booking, because I did all the booking for a period in that band in Chicago Riviera, and Joel does all of our booking for Daystar. And so I think between the two of us, we have a lot of good contacts and are able to know which venues are more of the curator venue, but also we'll have the sound system that'll support our sound. Like just for a 4-piece, we have a pretty big sound, a big live sound, because Joel, has these soaring guitar solos and stuff. And so that doesn't work on a thrown together PA. So,
right.
Again, that's why we're a little bit choosy, because the sound is really important to us, and so we want to make sure that we're playing venues that can support that sound and really make it come together.
Has there ever been a gig where you just weren't vibing with the audience?
How many times, right?
Well, I mean, like I don't know, I guess the worst one, or just like, how do you come back from that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we, years ago, my friend Josh Bovair, who was in Riviera with me, and I did a bunch of shows as just a duet, an acoustic duet, and we got booked out. I don't even know how we got booked onto this bill, but it was actually ended up being like a women's empowerment night, which I'm a full supporter and ally of, but we were out of place as an act, and it went over as you would expect. I mean, it was kind of dead silence as these two guys were up there, singing songs of heartbreak, sandwiched in between what was really supposed to be a night for women to have their voice. And so it didn't go well. And I don't blame the crowd at all. We shouldn't have been there.
What was there any just right before you go on to just be like, we shouldn't do this?
Oh yeah. I mean, as soon as we got there, because we knew who the other acts were on the bill, and we're excited to to play with the other acts, but didn't realize that there was a program behind it and that it's supposed to be. And honestly, I don't know. I don't know how we ended up on the bill. I don't know why the booker put us on the bill in the first place, but we did our best, and then tried to be cognizant of the fact that it wasn't going well, and so we tried not to overstay our welcome too much, so we kept our set short.
Gotcha. Okay. And before we're coming towards the end of our chat.
Yeah.
But before we go, I just wanted to ask a little question.
Okay. Hit me.
What does music mean to you?
It's interesting because I think there are lots of people who are like this, but I kind of have a continuous soundtrack in my head all the time. Like it's just in the background of my thoughts all the time. And sometimes it comes to the surface, and then I use it to write songs, like little snippets, little ideas will come out. And sometimes it's just in the background. And so for me, it's like this constant presence that I think and feel like helps me kind of navigate through my day. I've recently tried to focus more on what's right in front of me. I've always had a habit of thinking of the next thing and trying to look too far down the road, and then I just get disappointed if I don't hit where I think I'm going.
Yeah.
And I've recently kind of adopted the idea of just focusing on what's right in front of me, and I feel like having this kind of constant soundtrack in my mind helps me along that way. It helps me to stay focused and probably also helps me to stay a little balanced. So that's what it means to me. And I feel really lucky to get to play with people who can help bring some of those ideas out of my head and do it so much better than I could. I mean, I've been really lucky to play with people who are much, much better musicians than I am. And when that happens, when you do that, when you find people like that, it's pretty magical, because these things that are just kind of floating around in your head become real. And that to me is again, it's magical.
Nice. And then, of course, for the people at home who want to keep up with everything that you do and pick up the new album, where can they do all that?
Yeah, so our new album is called The Complete Recordings, and it's available on all streaming services, of course, but I highly recommend getting the vinyl package. Our bass player, Kelly, really put together a beautiful physical package, and you can get that at daystarpdx.com.
There we go. Derek, thank you so much for chatting with me for the first time.
Yeah, and anytime you want to chat, Chris, I'm here for you.
Awesome.
I look forward to your wedding.
Thank you. Invitation is in the mail eventually. So just I don't want you to wait by the mailbox, but I mean, if you want to do that, that's up to you.
You know I will. You know me well, Chris. You know
But I'll let you go and have a wonderful rest of your day. All right, man.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.